How is it possible that if people who suffered a genocide could be committing a genocide? I mean, this is what my Jewish friends and I and Jewish Voice for Peace, I mean, even though we've been organizing and speaking nonstop, we still look to each other and say, how is it possible? And I think we can't answer that question without understanding how trauma has been systematically weaponized by an ethno-state, and that Zionism is the ideology that turned trauma into a supremacist weapon. And so if we can't understand the discounting of the lives of Palestinian children without understanding an ideology that has indoctrinated people in this idea that you have to maintain Jewish dominance, right? So you see children as a threat. So, you know, I wrote that speech for the second night of Passover. Jewish Voice for Peace organized a Seder in the streets outside of Chuck Schumer's home, and calling for an arms embargo. And it was a very powerful night. I mean, 300 people were arrested in act of civil disobedience. I'd be lost without Jewish Voice for Peace, and you know the sort of the leadership that they've offered in solidarity with Palestinians, but also saying, you know, not in our name. This is not our Judaism. But part of that means practicing a different kind of Judaism. And I've always loved Passover because it's just so portable. It's really a diaspora technology, right? It is, you can have a Seder anywhere. You can lay out a blanket and have a meal. You don't need a temple. You don't need a rabbi. It's so democratic. And it's also, I'm the youngest child in my family, and on Passover it's the youngest child who asks the questions. And when I thought about celebrating Passover that year, I couldn't bear it, you know, because those core values of questioning, of respecting children. I mean, that week, they had sent the NYPD in to crush the Columbia student encampment. That is how little they were interested in hearing from young people and the questions that they had for their elders. So, you know, I don't think we get out of this horrific spiral, genocidal spiral. It's worse than a loop because it gets, you know, we're spiraling downwards, unless we get at this weaponization of trauma through the ideology of political Zionism. We have to name it, and it is a false idol, and we have to engage with I think, with Scripture, with our traditions, and reclaim them from this sacrilege.